Cagayan, eskwelahang pang-China. Sunog na kotse sa NAIA, Sara vs. Liza, Part 2, at marami pang iba. Kumusta for me? This is Avor Joseph and welcome to News Item Worthy Recap Weekly Edition number 48. We have tons to cover since last week, so skip to the answers provided if it piques your interest. Get to the down for the blazing selective summation. Here are some page news commentary for your convenience. Cagayan, Chinese sleeper students. Now, lest I be misconstrued as xenophobic dahil sa mga ni-report ko for today's video, just remember, I don't think credible itong mga alegasyon nila. Even I dismiss the allegations of Chinese sleeper cell narrative na gustong pasikatin ng Philippine National Police kasi nga sinabi nila yun, or at least kasi sinabi nila yun right as the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida visited the Philippines at inaddress pa ang Senado at House Representatives in a joint session of Congress way back last year. So, by the way, you can check the video of Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida out in NIDW Recap number 42. Wait. 24. Sinabi ng PNP na they're investigating reports of sleeper cells planted by China in the Philippines na nag-aantay ng utos ng CCP to wreak havoc and destabilize the government kasi nga malapit na ang Administrasyong Marcos, or at least malapit na ang Administrasyong Marcos sa US at NATO, unlike when Duterte was in power, and are more in line with Russia and China. This is bullshit. I mean, I understand the demonization of Pogo Hubs kasi nga madalas noong panahon na yun, puro Pogo Hubs ang nire-raid ng NBI at PNP dahil nga it's hotbed for scams and, just plain old trafficking, human trafficking. But again, demonization of Pogo Hubs in the country, but they're saying na yung Pogo Hubs are a sign of sleeper cells in the Philippines na madalas ginagamit dahil, or at least ginagamit hindi lang sa gambling, kundi as front for scams like cryptocurrency scams, love scams, and marami pang iba. China has rarely, if ever, intervened in internal affairs of international governments. I mean, Russia sure, but China, I don't think so. Although, albeit dinidismiss ko na lang ito as purely fanciful and performative by the PNP, I don't think we can rule out any desperate attempts by foreign countries to undermine our sovereignty and destabilize the Philippine government. Any threat to our national security, even with the slightest hint of truth, or minge of truth to it, should be approached as a 100% likely. One small crack, one air vent, one exhaust pipe can crumble a mighty nation with one oversight, probably a necessary one with regards to people's liberty and rights to privacy, but still is an oversight. I know masyadong convoluted na yung analogy slash simile slash metaphor ko, pero it's the air vents or exhaust pipes ba yun? Yung sa Star Wars? I haven't watched Star Wars, but I've heard good things. Nagsimula ito nang inihain ni Cagayan Representative Joseph Lara ang HR 1666 para paimbestigahan ang mga nagdagsa umanong Chinese exchange, probably not exchange students, pero probably exchange students sa kanyang lalawigan in Cagayan. Maaari daw itong resulta ng paglapit ng Administrasyong Marcos sa Estados Unidos. That's why they are trying to put in a lot of Chinese students, which is they'll probably imply as sleeper cell units. Bumelta ang mayor ng Tuguegarao dahil iginigit niyang mayroon namang, or at least meron naman talagang mga banyagang estudyante galing sa China ang pumupunta sa Cagayan. Malayo raw ang mga eskwelahan sa mga base militar o EDCA sites na pinasanayan at in-identify noong nakaraang taon lamang at enrolled naman na talaga yung mga ito even before the pandemic. Sinasabing hindi na raw bago na maraming foreign exchange students ang bumibisita sa Pilipinas, particularly to Tuguegarao. Ayon sa Bureau of Immigration, nasa 1,000 or at least 1,500 na Chinese foreign students ang nabigyan ng permit para mag-aral sa Tuguegarao. I mean, that's a lot.
Nung nagpunta ang Presidente BBM sa China, nakapag-ink po sila, pumirma po sila ng mga kasunduan na para magkakaroon ng mga exchange ng mga students. Hindi pa po na-identify ang Cagayan as EDCA site noon.
Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba says there are no police complaints against Chinese nationals in the province.
It means harmonious po ang aming relationship with all foreigners here.
So unfair doing that the institutions who have spent decades building their reputations.
Pero again, although it is sus nga, kaya kahit sabihin nating sensationalist lang talaga ang pagbunyag na maraming estudyante mula sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo ang gustong mag-aral sa iba't ibang parte ng Pilipinas. This still merits a discussion concerning national security in its utmost militant sense. We can never be too careful. We need to vet. Kailangang vetted ang mga estudyanteng galing China, and they must understand that it is not a case of xenophobia, rather sleeper cellophobia or insurgency phobia. Ayokong gawing malaki itong issue nito, but the fact of the matter is, national security should be our utmost priority, and since we're in a cold proxy war sa laban ng China at United States, any precautions are necessary precautions to safeguard our sovereignty. So not just Chinese students, mind you. I'm just not advocating for the vetting of Chinese students alone. We should also look into American or Japanese or Indian or Korean or whatever students or exchange students kasi wala dapat tayong kinakatikan, wala tayong kinikilingan, wala tayong pinoprotektahan, serbisyong totoo lang. If we suspect only one nationality as a possible perpetrator of potentially undermining our security, well, that's literally no security. Napakapangit nun. Kasi remember, we have OFWs and many Filipinos/Phil-Ams living abroad. It will be a bit sus kung sila lang dahil mayroon tayong kakaumpisa pa lang na balikatan exercises kasama mga NATO adjacent allies in total of 14 na bansa. Ginamit pa nga ang mga Chinese-made na barko as a target. So, we have to walk a very thin line with securing our national security or national sovereignty and the rights of those that wants to study in our country. It should also be seen as a pleasure pa nga and a privilege na may mga banyagang gustong tumira at mag-aral sa atin dahil malalaki ang naidadala nila sa ating local economy, especially sa mga probinsya at marami pang iba. Because again and again and again, we should not only look to the Chinese students. We should also look at the American students, Japanese students, sa every nationality if you really want to get in on the details about it. Duterte sumagot sa sinabi ni Liza.
However, nang umattend si VP Sara Duterte sa isang rally kung saan tinawag niyang, or at least tinawag na bangag, si President Marcos ni FPRRD last time. I think this is the same day as the Bagong Pilipinas thing. But I haven't really pushed the video out, so I haven't really cared. The NIDW Mini Major Tidbits will be coming soon. Pero yun na nga, nagalit siyang tumatawa pa raw si VP Sara Duterte nang sinabi ito ng kanyang ama na bangag nga raw si again PBBM.
Duterte said, oh, bangag, di ba? Imagine a former president calling bangag. I mean, wow, you had 6 years, why would you call bangag, di ba? So, and then the camera panned on her, tumatawa. So, syempre nakita ko, sabi ko, wow, man, I mean, masakit yan. And then when said Duterte, si Sandro, yan, gusto maging prime minister, perpetuate themselves in power. Tapos ako, I want to say, binibilang ko ngayong mga oras, di ba? So, pero tumawa sila. So, parang for me, ano yan, mali yata yan, di ba? Parang, you're getting swelled from the government, di ba? You're supposed to be the alter ego. We're there protecting you. Tapos gagawin mo yan?
Which BBM has actually responded saying that maybe it's the fentanyl, that's why he's saying that stuff.
Po sa statement ni President Duterte last night sa drugs and drugs initiative.
And then urging you to resign.
Resign po. I think it's the fentanyl.
Bumelta ang ating First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, the mastermind of it all, sa kanyang interview kung saan sinabi niyang, even Lini didn't do that. Don't bring her into this crooked game you call politicking. Okay? Wala siyang sinabi tungkol kay PBBM that either isn't true or remotely as bad as what Duterte has said. Don't bring her into this. We can see here na talagang si Liza Araneta ang the one calling the shots. It's such an off-putting statement to LARP and the former Vice President into this. She is a dignified scholar. She's enjoying her life. She won't do anything close to that. And don't LARP her into this. Don't put her in the same basket as former President Rodrigo Duterte. They are completely different people. Wala siyang sinabi tungkol kay PBBM that either isn't true or remotely as bad. Okay? I don't think she ever said anything about PBBM that is against, it isn't true, or remotely as bad as what Duterte has said. I'm not a kakamping in the most caricatured way possible of a liberal, fucking classist, wala na akong maisip na salita. Yung mayayaman, yung mga elitista na the most caricatured way possible. But let's not compare apples to rotten oranges here. Bad shot na raw siya. And would be taking a long time for her to get back on the good graces of the good Lord, Liza Araneta Marcos. Because again, we need her or something like that because she's the mastermind or something. I don't fucking know.
So, makikita natin yung hidwaan ni First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos that are kind of buried sa mga labanan ng mga lalaki sa pamilya, that being President Bongbong Marcos and former President Rodrigo Duterte. Again, sinabi niya na bad shot raw si Sara kay Liza dahil sa not actually defending the president sa mga batikos ng kanyang ama na tinawag pang bangag ang ating presidente, kundi pati na ang and probably encouraging or doing nothing of it sa kanyang pagtawa ng nagpan ang kamera kay VP Sara. Now, sinagot ni VP Sara Duterte ang hinaing ni First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos with this.
Mga kababayan, bilang tao, karapatan ni unang ginang Liza Marcos na makaramdam ng sama ng loob at galit. Subalit, ang kanyang personal na damdamin ay walang kinalaman sa aking mandato bilang isang opisyal ng pamahalaan. Upang makausad tayo, iiwan na natin sa isang pribadong pag-uusap sa pagitan lamang namin ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. ang mga susunod na hakbang. Mga kaigsuunan, nag-atubang ang ato ang nasod ug dagkong mga problema nga kinahanglang solusyonan sa gobyerno. Dapat ay nakatutok tayo sa pagtugon sa mga suliraning hinaharap ng ating bansa. Patuloy ang pagtaas ng presyo ng pagkain at iba pang mga bilihin. At ito ay mas nagpapahirap pa sa dinaranas na gutom o kawalan ng sapat na pagkain ng mahihirap nating kababayan. Nagbabadya rin ang kakulangan ng supply ng tubig at kuryente, habang talamak na naman ang ipinagbabawal na droga. Samantala, hindi pa rin natatapos ang banta ng kriminalidad, terorismo at insurhensiya sa ating bansa. Kini ang mga butang nga angay natong hatagan ug pagtagad. Unahin natin ang Pilipinas. Syukran.
Sinabi niyang karapatan nito na magkaroon ng pananaw, masaktan, madismaya at magalit, pero wala raw itong koneksyon o kinalaman sa kanyang tungkulin as the Vice President of the Philippines and the Department of Education Secretary. Kakausapin rin daw niya ng personal si President Bongbong Marcos nang maplansya na itong partikular na gusot sa relasyon ng dalawang pamilya at ng Vice Presidente at ng ating First Lady. Ang dapat raw na intindihin ng gobyerno ay ang mga pagtaas ng bilihin, paglaganap raw muli ng ilegal na droga, although nung nakaraan lang nakahuli pa si BBM ng mahigit kumulang 10 bilyong piso na nasabat na illegal na droga. You can check that video right now.
Pinasaringan rin ni PBBM ang war on drugs ni dating Presidente Rodrigo Duterte nang masabat ng DILG at PNP ang mahigit kumulang 10 bilyong pisong halaga ng illegal na drogang kanilang nakuha sa isang driver ng isang closed van. Although parang napakalaki nito for just one person to transport all of that. Napaka-convenient that. Anyway, ang sabi ni BPBM, walang dugong dumanak sa kanilang laban sa kontra-droga in contrast to Duterte's drug on war or war on drugs. I don't know, pero yun ang...
Walang namatay, walang nagputukan, walang nasaktan. Basta't inoperate natin ng dahan-dahan, yun naman dapat ang approach. Para sa akin, yun dapat ang approach sa drug war.
Pagnipis ng supply ng kuryente at tubig na nagpapahirap umano sa ating mga kababayan at marami pang iba. I mean, bit of a shade there, you know. Pero iginit naman ni President Bongbong Marcos na mananatili pa rin siya gabinete si VP Sara Duterte as the Department of Education Secretary. That the only reason he would ever kick VP Sara Duterte out of her position is if she doesn't do or what demanded or what her mandate is supposed to be.
Any of the cabinet secretaries will be replaced pag hindi nila ginagawa yung trabaho nila. Hindi talaga marunong o corrupt, di ba? Tatanggalin ka talaga namin. Eh, hindi naman ganun si Inday. First of all, my first reaction is what a lucky husband I am. That I have a wife na very protective sa akin na kahit na may nakita hindi magandang sinabi tungkol sa akin. Talagang she gets very upset. I guess we cannot blame her. It will not affect our working relationship with the Vice President, Secretary of Education. I think that she also, as a wife, understands how the First Lady feels when you have to sit there and listen to these attacks that are being made against your husband. But mag-uusap kami ni VP Sara, kami ni Inday Sara, mag-uusap kami na tungkol dyan. Para huwag niya masyadong dibdibin at yung hindi naman siyang ng mga nagsabi.
PDP laban, wala nang lakas ng bayan. Bumalta si Senator Coco Pimentel Jr. nang tinanggal or at least tanggalin na sa PDP laban ang laban part sa kanilang pangalan. Matatandaan noong magkahiwalay na partido ang PDP at laban na pinag-isa ng ama ni Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel Jr. at ni Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. upang buuin ang Partido Demokratiko Pilipino - Lakas ng Bayan o PDP Laban. Ngayon, pinangungunahan ni former President Rodrigo Duterte ang PDP Laban as its chairman. Nagkaroon rin ng paksyon ang PDP Laban nang hindi magkasundo ang ilang party leaders at miyembro nito sa kung sino ang i-endorsong kandidato for 2022. And we know there's a bit of a shift na sa party leadership na naitsapwera yung anak ng party maker. Tagang magulo ang PDP Laban, pahirapan at maraming hidwaan. It's weird considering yung Duterte wing of faction ng PDP Laban inendorso si PBBM. I mean, I don't think Duterte actually endorsed PBBM, but they did endorse PBBM's VP Sara Duterte. I mean, Benigno Aquino II or Jr., the OG sa PDP Laban, kinalaban ang rehimeng Marcos. So, yung side nila Coco Pimentel, unti-unti nang nawawala sa partido or what they call the originalists at hindi bumababa sa populist campaigning or hindi bumababa sa populist campaigning ni Duterte at ng kanyang mga inendorso at kapartidong kapaksyon.
Kung gusto rin naman pala nila ng ibang partido, kasi binago nila lahat sa PDP Laban. Ba't di nila sila nagbuo ng sarili nilang partido? Hindi naman bawal yun. Wala pang masasaktan, wala pang aangal. Itutuloy namin ang kausa ng PDP Laban at ilalaban namin even to the Supreme Court. Kaya nga may pending case kami dyan.
Ang sabi ni Senator Francisco Tolentino, this is a natural evolutionary change ng partido at talagang confrontational at lagi nakikipag-away ang paksyon na laban o laban ng bayan faction sa PDP.
To drop the name Laban would be a process, an evolutionary process of a shift in ideology, because Laban would always speculate and conclude fight. It would always be confrontational and oppositional. So perhaps the rebranding, ito lang, palaisipan ko lang to. The rebranding would probably be directed to moderate voters or Filipinos.
Here are some more PH news for your convenience. Mga kotse nasunog sa NAIA. Nitong Lunes sa sumatotal na tupok ang 20 mga kotse na nakapark sa NAIA Terminal 3 na abot sa 20 milyong piso halaga ng mga pangsala. Ang sabi ng NIA o Manila International Airport Authority, kinakausap na nila ang nagre-renta ng lupaing parte ng NAIA na ginawang parking space para pag-usapan kung sino ang aako sa mga gastusin and just compensation na natupok ng sasakyan. Ang posibleng dahilan raw ng sunog ay ang pagliyab ng mga damo sa NAIA, pero we can see from the video, or at least we can see from the video naman, na wala naman talagang damo. Sa gilid kasi dried na sila. Hindi na sila damo in the greenish sense natin sa gilid at ilalim ng kotseng nasunog. Pero parang dried grass nga, which is particularly combustible na dapat sinusunog na talaga nila yan. Bakit ba walang standby fire truck doon? 100 taong simbahan natupok. In an increasingly worrying incidents of fire in the Philippines dahil sa tindi ng init which could cause forest fires, house fires, kotse fires, and most recently, simbahan fires. Natupok ang isang century-old na simbahan na St. Ferdinand Church sa Ilagan City sa Isabela. Talagang tuloy-tuloy ang mga sunog na nangyayari sa Pilipinas. It's heartbreaking to see a historical site be demolished by fire. And I don't care if it's actually a simbahan of some sort. I mean, some people would ascribe meaning to that. Pero the fact of the matter is, it's a historical site nonetheless. Even if I'm an atheist, it's still a sad thing to see. Lalo na, not just because it's a historical site per se, but also since a lot of people draw inspiration and draw hope from that building. Lalo na ang mga resident. Pero the more worryingly, increasingly incidents are the residential areas na natutupok where the most vulnerable people are usually found. So, nakikiramay ako sa mga nasunugan, lalo na yung malapit sa amin. Nitong linggo lang yata, I'm not sure, pero nitong linggo lang. Kasi lahat ng naipundar ng mga tao ay bigla na lang mawawalang parang apoy na binanlian. O hindi ko na naisasama ang mga nasunog na nangyayari sa mga residential buildings at areas, pero if I could help, I really would, even just a tiny bit. Kung lumaki man itong channel ko, I will donate what I can. Talagang heartbreaking ito dahil again, most of those na nasunugan are one of the most vulnerable people in, the Philippines. The poorest of the poor. Yung mga nagpundar para sa kanilang kinabukasan. Sabi nga nila, manakawan ka na, huwag ka lang masunugan. Human rights icon Rene Sagisag at 84. Pumaraw na sa edad na 84 ang dating senador at human rights icon na si Rene Agosto Versaluis Sagisag. Nagsibil siya bilang presidential spokesperson ni President Cory Aquino noong 1986. Malakas ang kanyang alingaw sa Pilipino muna sentiments at paglaban sa mga human rights violation, most recently and particularly and loudly, I must say, during the former President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs that saw thousands of people of suspected drug convictions dead on the street. Ang batikang human rights icon at abogadong ito ay isa sa mga nagsisilbing tanglaw o liwanag sa dilim na opresyon ng media, karapatang pantao at justisya sa kasagsagan ng kahuwaran at katiwalian. Malaking dagok sa Pilipinas ang pagpanaw nito, ngunit ang ating dapat alalahanin ang kanyang kontribusyon, huwag malungkot, bagkus ay ipagdiwang ang kanyang buhay at ma-inspire sa kanyang makamit or at least nakamit at pagprotekta sa ating mga karapatan. At yan ang pagtatapos ng News-Siding Worthy Recap Weekly Edition for roughly the 4th week of April 2024. Mag-search sa more topics and or corrections through balitas if you feel I mispresented them in any way. Salamat sa panonood mga kabayang. Avoid me, like, subscribe, and follow my links in socials and avoid Joseph that would be linked down below. So susunod ulit, paalam. I don't fucking know.